something very important, which is also linked to this whole gamut of insecurity enterprise across Nigeria, which is an allegation you made that this whole religious terrorism, banditry, insurgency, and all of that is also tied towards an Islamization agenda, that certain people are hell-bent on Islamizing Nigeria. In fact, you use the word that until they dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean, they will not stop. And my question to you, because I find it quite strange that someone of your standing will make such an allegation. You know, I watched a couple of videos where you said that. Because how can anybody Islamize Nigeria? We're a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural nation, 250 ethnicity, almost 500 different languages. I mean, across all the regions, there are intermixed, you know, of religion, of language, or whatever. I mean, the Yoruba that you and I belong to, in our families, you know, we have Muslims, we still have traditional idol worshippers and all of that. So my questions are, how can anybody Islamize or, in the same breath, Christianize Nigeria? Amongst the Yoruba, the greatest leaders of Christians in Nigeria, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, Bishop Oyedepo, Reverend Kumoyi, you know, name it, Reverend Uma Okpai, just all the biggest churches belongs in this. So how can anybody Islamize or, in the same token, Christianize Nigeria? Prof, can you shed light on this?
It's happening now. Look at what happened in your state recently. Oshun, Kwara,
Ondo.
It's happening. It's not about whether I'm saying, oh, how can it happen? It's happening in your lifetime. You are alive, and they are pushing Sharia from Sokoto to. I said they are going to dip it at the sea, and I meant it. And maybe I won't be alive after a while. Yeah, if this video is on, people will say, "Oh, I said it." They're going to dip it at the sea. They've got into Oyo now. Makinde is fighting tooth and nail to get rid of them. They are already in Ogun State here. I remember the governor of Ogun State was shouting that, no, we are not going to accept Sharia here. It's going to happen. It's not about what I'm saying, it's what is happening. Look at what is happening. Don't talk about the theory of conspiracy.
General.
Physically, look at what is happening at bushes. Please allow me.
Okay.
General Togun is my friend. He was shouting a few days ago. They're all over the bush there, and they're going to use force. And if force is not happening, they will try to go through the Senate and all those stuff. They're going to Islamize this country. So if you like, continue to speak grammar, continue to rationalize things, continue to imagine that you're a secular state. Why should government be sponsoring people to on religious pilgrimage? When you wrote it in the Constitution that this is a secular state, what is your business spending billions to sponsor people to holy ground, whether Christian or Muslim or whatever you call it? Why should government get themselves involved? If not that they are stealing the money through that means. If you see a secular state, and every year you must sponsor a pilgrimage to either Mecca or to Jerusalem, what are you doing?
Let me ask you, General. Let me ask you, sir. When I thought about this question, I also thought of the fact that in President Obasanjo's administration, when Sharia was introduced by Governor Yerima, Sani Yerima, I think that was his name, of Zamfara. And President Obasanjo dilly-dallied, dragged his foot on whether to go, you know, with the full weight of the law, because the 1999 Constitution expressly forbids state religion. And Sani Yerima, governor of Zamfara at that time, introduced Sharia into Zamfara. And President Obasanjo, in my opinion, failed in clamping down to nip that in the bud. Because it was after he said, oh, it was advised that it was a political Sharia, that it was fizzle out. Rather than fizzle out, it spread to almost all the states of Northwest and Northeast, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct in my proposition or my idea or my thoughts that President Obasanjo's failure to clamp down on that, to nip it in the bud? What do you have to say to this? And I'm asking you again, also, give me more reasons, because the introduction of Sharia aspects of Islamic legal jurisprudence, is that sufficient to say they are going to Islamize? Because when you say Islamize, that means I, who is standing here, who could pass for a pastor, I would become a Muslim. Is that what you're saying? You, I know you're a Christian, would you accept? So take that first question about how President Obasanjo enabled, the introduction of Sharia, Islamic jurisprudence into our legal system against the 1999 Constitution provision expressly. What do you have to say, General, as we round up?
Yeah, I think that your first question is misplaced because that's not really what happened. It's completely different because when you talk about, when you say against the Constitution, of course, they have inserted it into the Constitution before Obasanjo was sworn in. I don't want to talk about this issue. There might be time for us to discuss, okay? I mean, when you talk about the personal aspect, when was it introduced into the Constitution? When was it?
That Nigeria is a secular state. No, there is no state religion in Nigeria.
No, it is in the Constitution that they can practice Sharia on a personal level.
Yes.
And you have to really go back into history and find out when Obasanjo was sworn in and whether the Constitution that we are using now, whether it was existing in the real sense of it. It's deeper. The question you're asking is deeper than you think you want to put it. If I want to talk about that issue, you're going to bring a lot of challenges here.
Okay.
It's deeper. The issue of Sharia, Yerima, and so on is deeper than the way you look at it.